got the money out of the supermarket, and then I asked the ladies at the supermarket, I'm like, can a bike ride on the superhighway? Because I looked on my map, and the only way really to get to Olympus was on the superhighway. Otherwise, I would have had to gone up in the mountains and like zigzag around, and it would have been taking forever. So they're like, of course, highway, bicycle, of course. So I was like, oh, I'll go down there anyway. So I get on the highway, and there's no sign on the highway that says you can't ride bikes on it. So I get on the highway, and I ride the highway, and I pass. I get to a checkpoint, and the guy's like, waves me down to stop. So I'm like, what? And he's like, you have to ask a cop to escort you through the valley that's up ahead. That's only 8 miles long. And I was like, all right. He's just like, and I'm like, well, why don't I? And I saw a train track there, and I'm like, well, I'll just take the train. That's better. So he's like, all right, yeah, just ask him where the station is. So I ride up, but there's no station anywhere. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just ride my bike through the valley. So I ride my bike through the valley, and I saw a couple of cops like escorting some big trucks through, and they didn't pull me over. And I went through, and then I saw another checkpoint, and they just waved me through, And so I was like, cool, in Greece, you can ride bikes on the superhighway. So then I ride up to, I start zigzagging up the mountain on the side of Olympus, and I stayed at the hostel. No, I went to the refuge there. And I thought it was a hostel refuge for some reason. And they're like, oh, there's no room. So I was like, all right, well, can I just camp here? So they let me camp for free, so that was cool. And even though the food was kind of expensive there. So I camped there, and it was cool because at night I got to see the whole lights, and I could see how the land, from the peninsula kind of curved back over, and I saw the lights of Thessaloniki off in the distance. It was cool, and I filmed it. And then the next day I rode up to lock my bike at the other base, and then I hiked up all the way to the top of the mountain to the highest hostel. And I was the only person staying there the first night. And then I got up the next morning, and it was like really, really, really like rainy, like wet and rainy and everything. And I was like, huh. And then the guy's like, yeah, you can't climb mountain. You can't climb in the wetness here. I think he wanted to keep me there another day to make more money off me. But, so I was like, what should I do? So I decided to just stay another day. So I went back to bed again, and I got up because I was kind of tired, because I had 3 hard days in a row before that. Or was it 2? Well, no, 3 if you would include the hiking. And then it had cleared up. It was totally funky in the morning, but then by 10 it cleared up, and it was clear the whole day, all the way until like sunset pretty much. But I hiked a little bit, and then I hung out, but I stayed there 2 days, and the food's really expensive there. I ended up paying 80 euros. But anyways, I get up the next morning to hike it. So I hiked up to the top of it, and I tried to hike up the steep part, but I was like, it was like rock climbing, with these shoes, which are like plastic, like slippery. So I was like, fuck that. So then I went around, and then I actually was able to climb the mountain from the other end. Not that mountain, because I thought it would probably include some more of that rock climbing, so I didn't even want to deal with that. So I went over and climbed the other mountain, even though it was only 3 meters lower though. But it was totally foggy, even though at like 7 in the morning it wasn't foggy. And I could have gotten up at 4, but I didn't. I got up later. So when I filmed it, I couldn't get the view of the whole everything. But I got enough of whole everything view, which I think I filmed too from the day before. So, and then I hiked down, and it's really pretty. Mount Olympus is really pretty. I have the filmed on the other films, but it's really pretty, really intense, really steep, beautiful mountain, foggy. I mean, it's everything you could imagine. So then I rode all the way down to the beach, and this beach there in Greece is amazing. Maybe I'll include that when I talk about Greece. But it was like packed with people. Was that a mosquito? It was packed with people who were so freaking decked out with their camping. They had beds, like wooden framed beds in their tents, their big ass tents with I think they even had like rocks, in their campsites. Oh shit, they are mosquitoes. Oh, motherfucker. At least there's not many. Refrigerators, microwave ovens, televisions, like all these people. And it was like tons of people, totally packed like a town. It was like some kind of like Indian or gypsy, some kind of like village right on the beach. Really nice beach too, and they were playing volleyball and everything. And the guy only charged me 5 euros to camp there. And then I tried to do the internet, but I wasn't allowed to like upload or even go into like Facebook or anything like that, because I had some comments on Facebook. So I was like, pretty much useless to me. You know, I couldn't comment on like YouTube videos or whatever, so I just went to bed. And then I got up this morning and I started rolling at 10:30 this morning. And I had a breakfast at the restaurant there at the other campsite, which I shouldn't have done because they had a store there and I could have gotten food for a lot cheaper. But I had the breakfast. So I spent a lot of money today on food, because then I rode in and I was riding down the highway and I only had like 40 kilometers to go before Thessaloniki. And then I got to, it was like one more checkpoint and the guy's like pulls me over and he's like, no bikes. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, wait here. So they made me wait there, just like in Croatia, for like an hour until these cops come. And then these cops come and they're like, yeah, you know, the fine for riding on the highway is 200 euro. And I was like, well, I've been riding on the highway since Larissa and I passed through 2 checkpoints and they just waved me through, you know. And he's like, what checkpoint? And I'm like, this one and that one. And he's like, oh, well, I'll have to talk to them and tell them not to, you know, do that. And I was like, so anyways, they didn't charge me, luckily. And they just let me leave. So I left on the frontage road. But I had to go way around, huge detour, and into Thessaloniki, because I decided to go into Thessaloniki instead of bypass Thessaloniki, which would have been a lot faster, and just go head straight to Sofia. But I was absolutely convinced that I had broken my rear axle, because I was riding up the hill and I could hear like popping, like pop, and I felt like there was a lot of drag also in my rear wheel, and there was a lot of play. So I go into a bike shop, dude, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I broke my axle. Here's the new axle, because I have an extra axle. And they open it up, and they're like, your axle's not broken. So, and like that play, it's play just because it's an old wheel. And I think they tightened it a little bit, but you can't really tighten it that much. It doesn't really matter because the gears work fine. And I mean, I should have known the axle wasn't broken, because when the axle broke in Germany, my gears were snapping, changing all over the place, and my gears were still working fine. So I don't know what that popping crap was. Maybe it's from my cranks getting bad, but I wiggled my cranks and they're tight, and there was no popping, and there's nothing going on today. So I don't know what the hell was the deal the other day on the mountain. But anyways, that was good to know. I mean, I'm glad that weight's off mine, because I was convinced that I had broken my axle. So now I know that I haven't broken my axle. But then I left and I went into this restaurant, and there's this girl in there, and I'm like, yeah, you have food? And she's like, oh, wait. And she disappears. And I was like, I thought she was going to say like, wait, I'll get you the menu. So she's in there for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, what? So I peek in, and she's like, oh yeah, wait. So she just like got me food. She like decided to just choose what to get. So then she gives me this little like sandwich, this like ham and cheese sandwich for like €2.50. And then she gives me another one, like, and I didn't even ask for another one. But then I got this €5.50 drink, which was really good, but it's expensive. So I ended up paying like €10.50. And they didn't even have internet there. They were like, internet was broken. And then at the bike shop, I asked if they had internet, and they were like, not allowed to use internet. So then I went into another place. I was like, do you have internet? This fast food place. And they didn't, but I ended up getting a hamburger and a couple of sodas there. It was so hot today that I was like literally like dehydrated no matter how much water I was drinking. And I just like wanted to get soda. Like today I was jonesing. The last few days, since I've been kind of out of shape again from not touring, I'm like jonesing for like, you know, Powerade and Gatorade, which I got the other day. It's so good. Gatorade is so good when it's hot out, you know, cold Gatorade. And anyways, the soda pop too. So I got me a couple sodas, and I got you know, some food there. And I think and then I got a big old thing of like grapes, which is only €1.50. I could be traveling so cheap if I'm eating like supermarket food. If I go in and I buy canned tuna, I buy a loaf of bread, I buy the vegetables or the fruit, and I just feed myself that way instead of going into the restaurants. Because I spent €10.50 at the restaurant. I spent €13.50 at the restaurant this morning, so that's €23.50, and then like another like €7 at the fast food place. So I spent like €30 today on food, when I could have spent probably like €15 on the same amount of food. So I need to get, I'm just not into the mode of bike touring, because I've been out so long from all of the bullshit with the problems with the bike and stuff, and then all the sightseeing in Greece. But I'm happy, because I've got $14,000 of credit on like 4 credit cards, so, and I'm not afraid to spend that. I want to have fun on this tour, so, and I'll be able to pay that crap off anyway, so I rode out of Thessaloniki. Whoa, I'm almost out of time. And then I rode up to the top of this pass. It just went straight up. So now I'm at 1900 feet. And there's like, I've seen like one mosquito and it's breezy. Because last night it was so hot and humid, I was sweating my balls off. I don't like camping out and right next to the ocean at this latitude, 42 degrees. This is the shit right here, so I'm happy. I feel clean and everything. So anyways, that's it. Okay, ciao.